In today's video, we'll be making some DIY keto bricks. These are high-calorie bars made with premium ingredients that can act as meal replacements on the go for those following a ketogenic lifestyle. The term keto brick was coined, developed, and popularized by bodybuilder Robert Sykes, who currently sells a large variety of them on his website. So if you'd rather hit the easy button and have a packaged, well-formulated brick, check them out on his website at ketobrick.com. I personally wanted something I can make at home and have full control over the ingredients, macros, and cost. After doing some research, I came across a video by Vander the Creator, whose recipe gave me a good starting point for iterations. I've since refined the recipe and constructed methods to produce two different keto bricks that I make in our home. One with beef tallow as the base and the other with the more room-stable and expensive cocoa butter. I'm actually not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, so I'm just going to roll with cocoa butter for the rest of this video. The footage you'll be seeing today is showing the use of cocoa butter for our bricks, but know that you can swap it out with beef tallow if you'd rather your bricks be cheaper and more animal-based. Step 1 is to measure out and gently melt your cocoa butter or tallow in your mixing bowl. For 4 1,000-calorie bricks, I measure out 216 grams. I like to use steam to melt the butter. The cocoa butter takes significantly longer to get melted, but you can accelerate this by breaking up the large pieces into smaller ones. While the butter is melting, I'll start mixing up the powders in a large bowl per the recipe I have here on the screen. I will be linking each of the exact products I use in this video, as well as the equipment like the silicone trays and the mixer, in the video description below. The flavor of whey protein you decide to use will obviously modify the taste of your bars. I'm using a chocolate peanut butter flavor from Levels. After dishing up 144 grams of whey, I added 28 grams of MCT powder and 6 grams of cocoa powder. For each of these, I generally add an extra gram or two in order to account for losses. Lastly, I throw in one 2-gram pack of stevia, which can be omitted depending on your sweetness preferences. We'll then set this bowl aside and direct our attention to the silicone trays. I measure out 20 grams of halved macadamia nuts on the bottom of each bar. You can use whole nuts if you rather, but the smaller ones will make the bar slightly easier to cut and eat. The remaining grams of macadamia nuts will be added to the top at the very end of the process. This is as much prep as we can do before our butter or tallow is fully melted. Once we are melted, we can add the powder to the butter and start mixing. I actually purchased this cheap mixer specifically for this project and have thus far been impressed with its performance. After about 5 minutes of mixing and stirring, I started pouring our concoction into the molds. However, not all the way. I consider this step to be crucial. Only fill up the mold high enough to cover the macadamia nuts. We'll be laying down a layer of peanut butter next. If anyone has a better way to cleanly measure out peanut butter, please let me know because this can get a little messy. I put 21 grams of peanut butter into each mold. An important step here is to go back and mix the peanut butter evenly across this layer on each bar. I found this keeps the taste consistent across the entire bar. With the peanut butter added, you can continue to pour the rest of your mixture onto the molds, trying your best to keep the four even. I then added the remaining grams of macadamia nuts to the top of the bars and poked them under the surface. Lastly, we'll put our bars into the fridge. The cocoa bars seem to be very stable at room temperatures and will remain solid. However, the tallow bars will get a little bit like Jell-O if left out. They do, however, both taste delicious. The cocoa bars remind us a little bit of harder fudge, and the tallow bars give us that Reese's peanut butter cup vibes. In general, I eat both of these cold out of the fridge, but the cocoa bars are much better for traveling. From a cost perspective, the tallow bars are about $3.71 a bar, and the cocoa bars are about $6.70. With this cost in mind, we tend to make the tallow bars most frequently for our home consumption, but we'll make the cocoa bars when needing to travel with them. So that's a wrap. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. This is Redbeard Engineered, signing off.